Hi there folks, Borislav247 here with another Days Gone video from my sub-challenges series, where I show one specific challenge and break down all the sub-challenges that lie within it. And on this video, it's the Ambush Camp Rush challenge that gets my full attention. Now, throughout all my time playing these challenges, I've never really taken the time to go into great detail about the sub-challenges that need to be completed. Well, all that is going to change, as I intend on showing all 12 challenges in this video series and then breaking down and showing every sub-challenge completed in as easy a way as possible. And trust me when I say this folks, a lot of these sub-challenges can be simplified. Now, as always, before I get on to the explanations of the sub-challenges, the first thing I have to do is change the information, because the current list of objectives is only for the bronze standards for these sub-challenges. And as always, I am only interested in the gold standards. So let's get this changed right now. Right then, now that the gold information for the sub-challenges is on screen, I'll go through all the sub-challenges. And they're all fairly self-explanatory, maybe with the exception of Berserked. But start with Camp Ghost. The description tells you kill 24 enemies before alerting the camp. This basically means you have to kill 24 enemies without alerting the camp. There is actually 25 enemies in total, so when you get down to your last one, the gold standard for this sub-challenge is taken care of. But the only downside to this particular sub-challenge is it takes quite a while to achieve. However, this one works hand in hand with the second sub-challenge that I'm going to explain, because Berserked is probably one of the best ways in order to get the 24 kills that you require. Berserked simply requires you to get 13 residue bolt kills. And that basically means that any marauder who kills another marauder throughout the course of this challenge, that all contributes towards the Berserked totals. Not only that, any marauder that is under the influence of a residue bolt, if they stay alive long enough, they will still eventually die, because they will basically be poisoned. And when they do die, that will also contribute towards the Berserk score. Now then, on to the third sub-challenge. This is Crafty, and this requires you to get 13 kills using traps, distractions, or throwables. So you basically have quite a number of options here, because there is 25 marauders in total, and there is a lot of throwables, etc. that you actually start with at the very beginning. So as well as that, there is a lot of items actually in the camp. So I will show later on exactly how to get that one done in the easiest way possible. And finally, on to the last sub-challenge, which is Quick and Painful. And this requires you quite simply to defeat the camp in under 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It sounds a tough one, but honestly, when you go about doing it the way that I show, it's really not. You can do it in just over 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes at the very most, and quite comfortably. So, now that they're all explained, let's get to the setup page. Now, I don't have the luxury of being able to choose any rings at the moment, because I'm taking this on as the first challenge, but if I was going to choose 2 rings, they would be Bullets and Joker. I will be picking them later on, because they're 2 very handy rings. The Fleur de Lis is one that a lot of people may prefer to use, but honestly, I don't think it's worth it. So anyways, let's get on to the first 2 sub-challenges, which are going to be Camp Ghost, Berserked, and I'm also going to get a gold score with this run, so let's do this. Right then, on to the first 2 sub-challenges, which are Berserked and Camp Ghost. And as well as this, I'm also going to get a gold score by taking care of this run in the way that I do it. Now, I do pick up the items at the very beginning there, and that's really just a course of habit. The main things that I am concerned with is getting the nest residue and basically the raiding the trees, because that is what is required every time to create the residue bolts. I always go for this armoured guy first, and it's upper left thigh that I'm looking to hit him with, because that one and especially another armoured guy later on are probably the two most important marauders you really want to be hitting with the residue bolts, because they will get you the most kills by far. But basically the whole idea of this run is basically not to be seen and not to create any attention. And by that I basically mean I'm not going to be using any of the explosives and whatnot. Because if there's any other marauders around when you use explosives and whatnot, normally that alerts the camp. And that is your camp ghost sub-challenge gone. So basically, at the moment it's going very well. I only use the residue bolts when I have good clean shots. So I try not to take too many risks, and then basically I'm looking to work around the camp, because the majority of this run will be from outside the camp perimeter. This is the safest way to do it, and it's also the easiest way to do it, because two huge advantages in doing the run this way are this. There is a timer on the top right hand side of the screen. You can ignore it. Time is not an issue when you're basically doing the run like this. And the second thing is the multiplier. You don't have to worry about that either. So because these two things alone are taken out of the equation, it is such a more hassle-free way of doing this. And it's certainly a less nerve-wracking way of taking out this challenge. So I'm basically going around the outside, not only because it keeps me safe, but most of the nest residue is located outside of the camp. But here is one of the few times I am actually going to use anything in the way of explosives. It's one mine right there, and it is for the flamethrower guy when he finally appears. And if it does its job, you'll never see that flamethrower guy. So I'm moving on to this next section, and there are a couple of marauders that I want to hit because they are in good accessible areas. That basically mean there is a good clean line of sight in order to hit them. That's the first one, and I like to try and get the one on the second hut up there, and that's fantastic. From here now, I can just basically leave them to it. I'm going to take a very wide berth, and that's another thing that a lot of people aren't that aware of, because on some of these challenges, the boundaries that you have they're very strict. But on this particular one, you can go out really wide, because as you can see here, I am well outside the camp area. And from here, there is no chance of me being seen at all. I am eyeing up one or two other possible shots, but as I said earlier on, I'm only ever going to take the shots when I consider I've got a good clean shot. And that one there simply wasn't the case. But this marauder looks like he's heading back over to this hut area. So, very nice. Yep, that will do nicely. And at the moment, I'm doing pretty well. I've got virtually half of the total that I require for the Berserked challenge. The Camp Ghost, I'm not bothered about looking at all. I will take care of that after the Berserked sub-challenge is taken care of. But this is why I am showing these both taken on at the same time, because it just makes sense. This does take a long time to do when you're trying to take out the camp quietly, and the Berserked sub-challenge is a perfect way in which to get this done. So again, at this point, I'm taking a very wide berth indeed. And because I'm looking just to take them out with residue bolts, I don't have to worry about going into the camp too much, because it's not explosives that I'm after. There is one nest residue, however, that is inside the camp, and it is right beside that building there on my left. It's basically on one of the crate stacks, but I will show exactly where that is when I come to pick it up. So right now I'm just looking to go right around to the other side of the camp, because it's potentially a better area for hitting some of these marauders, especially the armoured guy that I spoke about earlier. There is 3 of them in total that are heavily armoured. You've got the flamethrower guy, the one that I hit at the very start, and then you've got another one that basically is easily identified because he wears a helmet. And there he is. That is the one I ideally now want to hit. But the one thing you've got to remember with this guy, it's got to be a hit that's basically below the waist. You're ideally looking to catch him on one of his legs, because that's the only area where he doesn't have the armor protection, and you will get a shot in, and that is fantastic. Now, this guy will take out quite a few, or he usually does. I'm not saying it's always the case, but normally you can just let this guy run wild and he will clear out a good number of the marauders in the camp. So I'm just going to stay here and just let him do his thing. Now in this challenge you do get survival vision, so it's very handy. You can use it constantly just to see exactly what's going on. So even if the marauders are quite a long way away, you can still see a bit of the action. So, but again, as I mentioned before, time is not an issue, so I'm just waiting until it is safe to go in. And as you can see now, this guy is doing a great job because he is virtually taking care of the Berserked sub-challenge for me. I only require one more kill, and that guy, if he doesn't kill anyone else, when he dies, I will get that 13th. So, happy days, yep, and that is it. That is the Berserked sub-challenge taken care of to a gold score. But I still want to use the nest residue bolts in order to get as many quiet kills as possible. There will be 1 or 2 exceptions when I get near the end, because I will eventually change the crossbow for the BFG. Now, there's 2 reasons why I want to change to that particular weapon. The first is the BFG has a tremendous range and accuracy to it. But not only that, there is a suppressor that you can get in one of the huts that will allow the BFG to be silent, which makes for some very easy kills indeed. Now, this one I'm contemplating. Yep, fantastic. There was a risk that that might miss, but I thought, well, he's going slow enough, and although a lot of people might think, well, you're using the crossbow from that range, there's surely bound to be some drop-off with the bolts. The drop-off really isn't that bad unless you're trying to shoot from one side of the camp to the other, but lengthwise, not width. So at this point, I'm fairly confident that there is, yep, it just seems to be that one marauder. So at this point, it is safe to get the last nest residue that I need. Now, I may not have to use all the nest residue bolts that I currently have now, because I've got a reasonably good supply here. And at the moment, yeah, I can see from the camp ghost total, 15 marauders have been taken care of so far. So yeah, 10 remaining. I'm now just looking, getting the bearings, because yep, there is one up there who is still under the influence of the nest residue. So I'm not going over there at the moment. I'm going to wait until that one has either just left the area or actually dies. Given all of a sudden it's gone up to 16 and I can't see that one anymore, I'd say he's dead. So I'm just being ultra cautious. I do not want to be seen in any way, shape or form. When you take this long to do it, yeah, it's a great way in order to take out this camp. But you do have to be patient. And this one isn't moving too much, so I'm just going to go for it. Now, worth noting, if there had been other marauders near that particular one, I probably wouldn't have taken that shot, because if you do happen to miss with a residue bolt, you potentially can alert the camp if there is more than one marauder by where you're aiming at. So that is worth noting, folks. But right now, I'm just letting this guy do his work. And Yeah, okay, I'm going to take the time to hide a little bit better. In fact, he was firing at me, the bugger. He'd actually seen me, but this is another thing that you need to know about the Camp Ghost. Basically, if a marauder does see you, if they are under the influence of a residue bolt, they will not alert the camp. So, now I'm in a fantastic position. There is only 4 marauders left. So it's goodbye crossbow, hello BFG. And something else that I'm going to point out right now, because a lot of people will probably be wondering about this. There is a whole load of items in the camp at the moment, and I'm basically not touching them. There is a good reason for this. This is not something that I'm just like forgetting to pick them up. This is all part of a bigger plan. And this will come into effect at the end of the challenge. And I will explain more when I get to the right point. But right now, I did go into that hut, and that was purely just to get the suppressor for the BFG. So now, this bad boy is silent. So as opposed to going all the way around the outside of the camp, now that there's only 4 left, I am being a little bit more brazen. But yeah, at this point, you know what? There's no harm in being safe, so screw it. I'm just going to go around the side. This side isn't anywhere near as bad as the other side because you can pretty much run the entire way. On the other side, you have a lot more water to contend with, so it's a bit more of an issue. But here we go. Victim number 1. Okay, 1 down and 3 to go. Now, I'm just trying to get a look at what I have up in this area, because the last marauder, I always make sure that I leave one of them that is in that top section beside the tower. And perfect. I can see 2 up there. Now, yep, the other marauder is looking away, so that is perfect because it's still silent. That is a good one to take out there. As long as you have the suppressor, and if the marauder is looking the other way and doesn't see the marauder that you're going for falling, then it's all good. The camp simply will not be alerted. And I've only got 2 left, so that one that's up beside the tower, I'm not touching him now. That is the one that I'm leaving. And there we go. That is the one that I'm actually wanting. And there is very good reason for this, because I have a fantastic failsafe in play, which will basically ensure that I can get a gold score. So there we go. That is the Camp Ghost sub-challenge taken care of. There's only 1 marauder left. Now, because I haven't taken any damage in any way, shape or form, if I took up that last marauder now, I would actually get a gold score, because the gold score required for the ambush camp rush challenge is 25,000 points, and I'm over 22,500, which is your minimum requirement. But if you're short of this total, or if you've taken any damage, this is how you go about ensuring you get a gold score. And it's all to do with these items that I basically haven't touched up until now. I'm leaving them all for the very end, and now I am going to work on the multiplier. I'm going to pick up all these items. But the beauty of doing it this way is there's nobody up here, so I can do this easily and safely. And the multiplier for the ambush camp rush works differently to a lot of the other challenges, because there is not a ridiculous amount of items. When you do start picking them up, the multiplier keeps going for longer. It's not like the Endless Horde challenges where it disappears very quickly. And at this point, you can use the survival vision if you're not sure where items are in order to find out where they are, because it basically highlights everything when you use the survival vision. So as you can see already now, my score is moving up very nicely indeed. By basically leaving all the items like this and picking them all up at the end, you can pick up easily between 5,000 to 7,000 points. Nice and safely. The only thing you do have to watch for when going around here is basically bear traps and obviously, well, I say tripwires, but they're actually wires that are just designed to alert the marauders in camp. But if you hit any at the top end here, When that last marauder is basically at the other end, then it's no harm, no foul, because no one is going to hear. So, as you can see, and there we go, I have now taken care of the gold score. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing because I want to show just how effective this is. Yep, that's a bear trap there, but yep. All of the marauders that I've killed throughout the run as well, you basically pick up items from their dead bodies as well. Not only that, there is 1 or 2 plants, you can basically raid them as well. Yep, this is going very nice. There is a whole load of items in here. So if I head over here, there is another wire to deal with. Now, this is something else. Because I've been picking up all these items, you basically find that all your cocktails and whatnot, anything that you create on this section of the menu wheel, it's basically your cocktails and your bandages, they all add to your multiplier as well. Yeah, I'm just going to take care of that wire right now. There would not be any risk if I did just walk through it because the marauder is so far away. But I'm just being thorough. And again, there are still more items over this way, so I'm just showing potentially the amount of points that you can pick up. So even if you do have a bad run where you get the sub-challenges done, but you do take a little bit of damage, say maybe off a marauder that's under the influence, it's all good. You can still rectify the situation. Again, I'm just checking if there's anything that I can potentially create there, or craft I should say. And as you can see now, my score is close to 29,000. And that's from it being at just over 22.5 before I started this. So this is why I save all of these items. This really is a fantastic backup to ensure that you will get a gold score every time. And this does work every time, folks. It really is that good a method. Not only that, I'm basically showing this right to the finish like this when I'm picking up as many items as possible, just to show you all whereabouts all these items are. Because of course not everybody's going to be quite as familiar with this camp as I am. I've played this challenge an awful lot, so I pretty much know where everything is. And yeah, there's not that much point in doing anymore because I have actually now lost the multiplier, but it's done its job. So the last items, yeah, I might as well just pick these ones up. No, make sure I get the right item. Okay, just one thing left to do. Happy days. And there we go. That is the Berserked, Camp Ghost, and the gold score taken care of with that one run. Fantastic. Not only that, I will show in just a second just how good the patch perk is that I have now unlocked, because it is the best in the entire game. Right then, before I actually apply some rings, I'm going to show the patch perk that I've unlocked, and it is Bullet Penetration +3. This is fantastic for the Endless Horde challenges, but also fantastic for taking on the hordes in the main Days Gone game. Now, for the rings, the two that I recommended earlier are the two that I'm going to choose, Bullets and Joker. These will help tremendously with the last two sub-challenges. And not only that, I'm going to change the character from Deacon to Ricky, because Ricky is a much faster character to use. So, on to the next sub-challenge, which is going to be Quick and Painful. Let's do this. Right then, on to the Quick and Painful sub-challenge, where you are required to take out the entire camp in 3 minutes and 30 seconds or less. Now, Going for those items at the very start there is very important because I do want some explosives and throwables available. Now, depending on how well the run goes will depend on how many of them I will use, but the one thing that never changes is how I start these runs every time. When going for time, I'm looking to take out that armoured guy. That's always upper left thigh. Then I'm looking to take out that marauder with a Molotov, that one as well, and I have one grenade, and that's going to that guy over there. That's not a fantastic throw. I'm not sure if I'll get him, but yes, I have. So from here, this is the next thing that I always make sure to get in place. This guy here, I want him under the influence of a residue bolt as well. And from here, I'm actually looking to get the best melee weapon in the entire game, the superior metal axe. Now this is fantastic for this sub-challenge. Basically, there is a BFG that you can use as well, but honestly, using the superior metal axe is so much fun, and it is exceptionally quick in taking down their numbers quickly. Now, the only disadvantage of not having the BFG, honestly, is the fact that it's a little bit more difficult to deal with the sniper early. You do have to wait until you get a lot nearer to him. But that being said, when you're moving about like this, the guy with the sniper is going to struggle to bloody hit you anyways. So it's all good. I'm basically now just looking to work from the top end of this camp, just work my way down. Yep. Although the two that are under the influence of the residue bolts have done a fantastic job, as soon as I see them, that's it, they're getting walloped. The only thing I am concerned about when doing this run this way is how quickly I can do it. I'm not bothered about the multiplier. I'm not bothered about the score. It's just all about the time. And so far, that's me just hit the 2-minute mark now. So I've still got a minute and a half in order to get this job done, and I've only got my 9 marauders left. And that is the last of the really tough ones. As you can see here, this is just fantastic. When you're moving around like this as well, they struggle to get shots off to you. It's only when you actually stop. But at this point, this lot up here really are just going to get it with some gunplay. And yeah, if I can take care of the sniper, yeah, fantastic. Where are we? There's one left. There he is. And that's it. I did that with just under a full minute to spare. And that's how you get the job done on that one. So, just one sub-challenge left. It's time to take on Crafty. Okay, for this last sub-challenge, 13 kills are required using explosives, traps, or distractions. Now, it's very important that you get all the things from the campsite there, because you can craft quite a lot of items that are going to be very handy to use. I most certainly favour Molotovs because they're quite quiet. There will come a time where I do want to get things a little bit louder, and I do it at a specific point in the camp. But right now, I'm just looking to get a residue bolt onto this armoured guy. This is actually just for a distraction. Basically, while they're all fighting away, it leaves you free to basically move around a lot easier than what it would be if the camp is alerted to your presence. So that's one of them taken out of the equation straight away. And I know that armoured guy that I put under the influence of a residue bolt, well, he'll get a few kills, but you won't take out that many. It's very rarely he takes out more than 5 or 6 on a good day. So at this point, the next one that I'm looking to take out with a Molotov is the sniper. Very handy to take out early, and you can do it very quietly and very easily this way. So yeah, very nice so far. So again, at this point, I'm looking to ideally use something that's a little bit on the quiet side. Basically, no pipe bombs and definitely no grenades. They are going to be used later on, and very effectively, because the way that I do this is actually quite clever. I'm basically looking to keep this area of the camp occupied with some battles, while I basically plant a proximity mine that's for the flamethrower guy when he eventually appears, because he is currently in his bunker. But I'm also looking to get these items over here. This will set me up for creating one or two more things craft-wise. But the one thing that I can get straight away is another Molotov. But the next area is where all the magic really happens. Because now I'm looking to get a few more items in order to create a few more things. But more importantly, I'm looking to create some noise over here. I am wanting to use one more of the residue bolts. And it's on, yep, this marauder. He's always around this area. If he's not actually in that hut, he's very close by. So I want all these items here. Then I'm heading back over. I want these other items as well here. These are very important. The nails there especially. And from here, I'm very quickly wanting to make my way to the top area. I'm just checking what I can actually produce here. Yeah, so it's definitely got to be another Molotov. They always come in handy, but a proximity bomb as well. That will be useful very soon. But right now, I'm ideally looking to use a grenade. Because when that marauder over there that I just hit with the residue bolt starts firing off, all this lot up here always congregate over there. You're usually guaranteed to get 2, and in this case I've been exceptionally lucky, 3 kills. And from here, that marauder that's right over there, I'm going to hit with a Molotov. I can already see that there is more marauders now heading over to this area, because that grenade, although it hasn't alerted the camp to the fact that I am here, it's alerted them to the fact that somebody's around here, but they're not sure who. Or what, for that matter. Now that's quite interesting there, because I've just seen the tricky totals all of a sudden going up to 10. So I am assuming, yeah, I can see the I can see the damage done by the proximity mine. That's the flamethrower guy, and there must have been somebody else right beside him, because that's basically 2 of them that were taken out there. So I'm hoping to get 2 kills with that pipe bomb. It doesn't happen amazingly. I don't know why there, but never mind. I only require 2 more kills in order to get this sub-challenge taken care of. And given all the marauders that are in this area right now, this shouldn't be a problem. They do start going a little bit nuts in terms of running around, but they always come back to this area, because this is the last area that they basically registered explosions and whatnot going on. So it's just biding my time at this point. And pipe bomb ideally, if I can get 2 of them close together. Oh, and there we go. Perfect. This should do the job nicely. And there we have it. That is it. That is this sub-challenge taken care of. And at this point I thought that guy would be a little bit more efficient, but no, at this point it's... yeah, maybe this one will take care of us, and good God, they're really taking their time here. This is really starting to get annoying. Okay, what have I got left? Aha! Proximity bomb. That'll do nicely. And there we go. That is the last sub-challenge, and that is everything wrapped up for this particular challenge. So with these methods and strategies, folks, I can only hope that these help a lot of people, because this challenge is, of all the challenges, the one that you really want to take care of first, because it comes with the best patch perk in the entire game. But that's it, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Take care.